Beautiful sunrise. Hey. Trees blowing in the wind. Birds singing. Wow. One building a nest right here. Look at that bird. Some of the most beautiful birds I've ever seen are in the plate though. In Africa, in South America, Central America, Caribbean. When I said beautiful, I mean the colors. The colors. Not just one color or two colors, but multiple colors. Anyway, let my journey begin. Walk. Drive and walk, I guess. I have to go somewhere, drive a little and walk a little. Alright? Good morning. How are you? Yeah, man. Well, after parking, there's some walking. And by the beach. Most of this stuff is done by Gambian guys. They clean up the area and set up some little shops. And enjoy not only making some money, but but this atmosphere. I mean, imagine in the US, you know, this is 30, 40, 50 million dollars worth of view. Southampton. Hey, you can't even buy a house out there unless you get invited by those people who are our frenemies, you know. We can play basketball and in their venues. We can work on their plantations. You can read the paper that they give us to read and call it news. We can make some money doing all these things, even the yearly well, not yearly, it's not yearly now, it's about every 3 years or so. We can make a movie pointing out our slave origins, not our African origins now, our origins as slaves. And anytime we try to point out the truth, facts, and facts that their writers wrote about us, those trafficked into slavery. Anytime we bring up that information and say, hey, well, wow, we didn't know you were responsible for this. We didn't know you had a hand in this thing. We thought you were our friend. They call us anti-us now. Anti-us. Because you got to do the root. You got to do the study. Study to show thyself approved unto your Father. That's what is written. Honor your father and your mother. Get to know what your father and your mother. Not who, what is your mother. Well, it's a living being too, so you gotta say who too. The true father and mother is not mom and dad, father and mother. Origin. Mom and dad is a continuation. Father and mother is origin. Beginning. When you search for that beginning, you'll see. But anyway, when you read their writings, say, wait a minute now. Here is this information said you are anti, but how can I be anti you when you are not? You know what I'm saying? How can I be anti coconut when you are not coconut? You are not a coconut. You're not a baobab. So how can I be anti-baobab when you are not baobab? I am baobab. So you're trying to tell me that I'm anti-meat? Well, a lot of us hate ourselves. That's why we become, we take on somebody else's religion and fight to raise up their banners around the world, all the way from Persia, India. We were the ones who drove all the way to Albania carrying another man's language and religion. And still today, we are the ones. He's turned away from his own religion now. Africans are the one who's carrying the torch, dying in the name of somebody else. Anyway, like I was saying, some of us are anti-us now. But every time we bring up the words that they wrote, they spoke, it's there in view. Every one of the leading teachers wrote about us, who we are, where we are located, when, how they found us, what we were doing when they found us. They went searching for us. Searching now. Seriously. They went searching. When you read their books, they say, we went searching. We heard rumors that these people were there. And we went searching for them. And sure enough, they were there. And when we get there, they were black as coal. They were this color. I mean, they spoke a language that's different to ours now. Their Hebrew was, Hebrew. How is that we speak this thing called Yiddish? Where do we get this from? But anyway, anytime we bring up the subject which they wrote profusely, they begin to get upset, you know. But we know the facts. Well, not we, but there are those who know the facts. See, the truth will never die. You can never disprove it. One day you might pave over it. And then the next thing the building falls down and you got to build on it, guess what? It's laying right there. All the black bodies in America and Europe that they built, parking lots, houses of mass murder. Every time they try to build something now, out of the ground comes this haunting fact. But anyway, I hope I didn't disturb you this morning. Or this day or night, wherever you are. I hope what I'm saying does not disturb you. But if it does, then it's time. You're disturbed for a reason. You're disturbed because you're thinking, how is it that I didn't notice? And that is when you begin to study it that you begin to calm down and say, wow, so this is what's been happening to me. This is why I've been so angry all my life. And I don't understand it. This is why these things are happening to us. Because of this. It's not just happening. It's being done to us. There's somebody actively, good morning. There's somebody actively making our lives miserable. And they wake up with a plan every day. They wake up and call each other every day. It says, okay, are you doing this? It's like I walk into a bookstore owned by Caucasians in Miami. And when I walked in, dressed in my Hebrew garb, one of the women working in the shop, she was having she started a conversation with another one. And out of the blue, she says, and you're teaching that Jesus is white, right? I smiled and looked around and the two of them were looking at me. Guess what they were doing? They thought they were going to get the all, you know. But I just said, I said, wow. I knew exactly what they were doing. But like I said, they wake up every morning with a plan. And they keep each other checked in line. You go back and see in the last 100 years how many, when they wrote about what's being done to us, how many of them have died mysteriously. Especially the prominent ones, the ones that have stature in their community. Every time
even other people who are not of there, like Gamal Abdel Nasser, Egypt. He asked the question, how did you leave here as a black man and came back white? Next, assassinated. Muammar Gaddafi. We are Africans. We have to. Next, assassinate. Lumumba. And all the other, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. Now, just we used to have one man saying, this is the truth, this is the facts. And if you don't believe me, go find it here. And they will knock him off. Now, you have a million men talking. And they're finding it difficult. To cover up, pave over. So they set out on another program. Genetics. All over the world they're making all kind of poisons that keep black women from having babies. They brought them from Ethiopia, removed them from Ethiopia specifically to castrate the women, while all the time pretending to do it because they're this benevolent people. But we know and now Ethiopians know. See, they were trusting, they still believe that our father wanted them to come back to that place at this time. That's what they've been told. They believed it, but the time is not yet right. But they're learning. And the word is spreading of what has been doing, what he's been doing. The light is being shined on him from every corner now. From every corner. Anyway, you can see a beautiful day in Gambia, right? All over the world is turmoil. Though there's still people trying to stir up turmoil in Africa. When you look at how big this landmass is, you'll see the little bit of disturbances, though significant. I'm not downplaying the loss of our people's lives. The life of one life, like our father said, loss of one should bring, and somebody killed one of us, 1,000 of them. That's how much our life is worth. We are people of great value. As you can see throughout all the world, when they took us into slavery, we built everything that they had. From the armies of Arabia, and we became Muslims. When we became Muslims, it spread. We took it and spread it all the way up to Albania, like I said. Spain, France, out to India, China. Oh yes, you have to see it for yourself. Muslims that went to China, or Africans, some of them still exist today, almost the same color that they were when they left, when their foreparents left Africa. But that's something that we're not hearing, you know? You have to search. Anyway. From that time until this day, when the Portuguese trafficked us to all their plantations in South America, and the British to all theirs in the Caribbean and other parts of the world, guess what happened to the British Empire? That's when it rose up. That's when it overcame the Spanish, who used us. The Spanish used us to raise up themselves, their empire. The British came and used us to overcome the Spanish. You never looked at it this way as I'm telling you now, really, did you? The French. That's why the French were so scared of Haiti. If that Haiti was spread around the world, the French would lose everything that they had. They had nothing until they got Africa. History is something else, isn't it? All these people who had nothing until they trafficked and enslaved, whether in the mind as form of religion or physically. Once you get a man's mind, you can send him to fight for you, spread your word, your language, your culture. He will put his culture aside and spread yours for you. Imagine that. Anyway, that's just short, some little thoughts. Just some small thoughts. Now, today is the day we have to rebuild. And there's some things I have to say about that too. Like, I'm waiting for the time when the most information is coming out about this meeting that they hastily called meeting of leaders. They call them leaders now. African leaders, they call it. But anyway, I was waiting to see what information comes out of there, but just to contrast it to say, hey, we don't need yes, If a man's going to give you something, if it's good, if you can use it with something good, take it. But you have to be dependent on yourself, If you don't have asphalt to pave your roads, you use gravel. And people will say, how can they use gravel? Guess what they put as bed for railroad tracks? And those railroad tracks last how long? They use gravel now. The Roman Empire, one of the most destructive. Listen to why I said I didn't use the word wicked now. That word is like, ha. Well, when you understand what it means, you don't even bother use it. But destructive forces that ever came upon this planet. They built roads out of mud blocks, earth blocks now. Built bridges, houses that stand to this day out of earthworks. You're telling me that we absolutely need asphalt to build roads? Every village in Africa should have roads built of small blocks. And drainage systems that when the rainy season comes, those roads won't flood. The water will drain off. Build catchments so that the water will sink into the earth. The evil man makes millions, billions of dollars off selling the story about starving Africans. Yes, they're starving, but underneath this, the ground where they're standing on is the water that if they took it out of the ground will water the plants till the next rain came. But instead of doing that, the leaders are going to America and say, can you give us this? Go to England, can you give us? France, can you give us? See, these are the things that we need to do. We're not doing. When China, the Cultural Revolution, they melted down every pot, pan, everything to make iron, to make whatever they want to build. They didn't throw away. They melted it down and make it into they want. They didn't send it anywhere. They did it at home. Built their own steel factories. People will laugh at them and say, hey, they're not using the most technologically latest equipment. Nope, but they were still making iron that they didn't have to buy. Still making the steel that they didn't have to buy. But we're waiting for somebody to come and build a factory in Africa. Please come and invest. Oh well. All right, fellow Africans, wherever you are. Hope you enjoy your day. Well, in some places it's not sunny yet, so hope you're enjoying your rest.